Hi everyone, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here today. Welcome to everyone in the room at the IMAX and welcome to everyone who's watching us online as well. Today's session is about SME and startup business support. I think we've heard a lot today already about the importance of collaborating and partnership when you're working in the innovation space, and I think you'll hear similar messages from all of us here today as well. My name's Yasmin, Sulaiman. I'm VP of Partnerships at CodeBase. At CodeBase we run the Scottish Government contract for TechScaler. For those of you that don't know, TechScaler is an initiative to make Scotland the best place in the world to launch and grow your startups. And we work in partnership with people across the whole of Scotland, including everyone here as well. So really pleased to be here with you today. I'm just going to let my fellow panellists introduce themselves. We've also got a Slido open for questions today, so you'll see the QR code just above us here. Please do scan that. The questions will come through to me on this iPad, and then I can field them to the panellists. We've only got 30 minutes today, so please do get your questions in early, and hopefully we'll get round to everyone. But yeah, to get us started off, Alison, can we start with you?
Yep, so I'm Alison Munro. I'm Head of Innovation at Scottish Enterprise.
Jim.
Hello there, my name's Jim Berryman. I'm from Innovate UK, specifically Innovate UK-KTN, one of the local assets on the ground, a knowledge transfer advisor for this part of the country.
Hello everybody, my name's Dominic Dowling. I work for Glasgow City Council and I'm the Group Manager for Business Growth.
Great, thank you all. Alison, maybe we could start with you. So we've talked a lot about support and how innovation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It needs a supportive ecosystem really to help it happen. But support is more than just money, isn't it?
It is. It is. So I suppose a couple of things I wanted to say. Great, this event is absolutely great. So it gives you the opportunity, if you've been to the stands, to see the variety of support that's available from across lots of different organisations. But it isn't all just about money. It's about that ability to be able to connect with peers. I think sometimes the best innovation advice and support that you can get is actually from other companies, talking to other companies, understanding who's doing what and being able to tap into that. There is a huge array of support available. I know we're talking today and a lot of what the session is around has been around technology, but it's not all about tech support either. A huge array of support in terms of business models, workplace innovation, workforce innovation, thinking about how you use your intellectual property, as well as that R&D and innovation and technology piece, thinking really broadly about innovation and then applying it really broadly. I think that's important. The other thing I'd say is talk to people, talk to the organisations. There isn't one of us, the three of us are here on the panel, not just because we're the sponsors, but because we work together to support you. We don't compete with one another for your business, really want to be working together. You can go on and see what's available on all of our websites. You can use Find Business Support, but I really think there's nothing better than talking to people. Old school, pick up the phone to Scottish Enterprise, use our 0300 number, have that conversation, see what's about. If we can't help you, if it's not appropriate, if there's somebody better, we will put you in touch with those organisations that may well be better in doing that. So we work together. Don't see us as competitors, see us as groups of individuals with different support that can support you in your innovation journey.
Thanks. Dominic, I wonder if you can tell us a bit about the support framework that you offer as well.
Yes, I agree with the core message, what we've heard from Alison there. Again, our biggest asset that we have within my team at Business Growth are our advisors who have that practical experience and can offer that one-to-one support, that solid foundation upon which a good idea can become a thriving business or social enterprise. But we also recognise that there are certain types of organisation that require more specialist types of support, and that's where we're able to link in, have that collaborative approach, whether it's with Scottish Enterprise or with the private sector or the academic sector. And our Business Growth Framework offers that to SMEs, where we will fund one-to-one support for an organisation with an industry expert. We have 10 separate lots in which we offer that support. It could be around marketing, it could be around the green economy, it could be around digital, but we're able to build upon the more general foundational support that our advisors offer and move towards a more specialist offer as well. I think what Alison is saying is absolutely right. Talk to us. My biggest frustration in what I do is that the number of businesses that I meet who have never heard of our services or haven't engaged with us. It isn't for the lack of trying. We do an awful lot to market what we do and what we have to offer, but we're conscious that SMEs are time poor. And if there's one takeaway from what I want to say to people today, it's reach out to us and spend that time, have a conversation with an advisor. The worst thing that can happen, worst case scenario, is that you feel that you've wasted an hour. But I think that's unlikely. I think that these conversations, if we're not able to directly help you ourselves, we can signpost you towards colleagues in the industry who can offer that support.
Thanks. And Jim, we've heard a lot about Innovate UK Place activity today, but I'm wondering if you can tell us more actually about the activity and support people can access.
Absolutely, and I'm delighted to do that because I'm from Uddingston. I'm local. I live and work here all the time with an Innovate UK hat on. And that's relatively unusual because most of the folk that work for Innovate are sector specialists or technology specialists that cover the whole of the country. But there's a group of us that work on the patch doing innovation every day in, day out, 365, 24/7. And I'm one of those. And it's really good that Indro, Adrian and Alison stood up earlier on today to let everyone know about the joined upness of the approach, because that's not always been apparent. And today's really good, particularly the Memorandum of Understanding, because we know each other well, we talk together all the time, but the world doesn't necessarily know that. So that platform to let everyone know that there's one ecosystem, we're all in it together. It's mainly built by the SMEs and the businesses that are out there doing innovation, and we're there to facilitate access to the best possible support that we can provide. And we do it really collegiately. But hopefully it's a coherent package, and all today's announcements help make it look more like that than it did yesterday.
Great, thank you. And thank you everyone for your questions. We've got quite a few here already. Just a reminder, even if you're not asking a question, you can log into the Slido and upvote certain questions. So please go ahead and do that, and then we have a good steer on what you want to have answered. But I'm just going to go from the top for now. So we've got a question. How can a university startup or someone who is almost at the stage of a startup identify the right investors, angels and VCs? Anyone like to take that?
Well, looking at me. So there's lots of different ways you can do that, and across probably all of our organisations. So the good thing to do is you really need to be developing whatever is the pitch. What are you trying to do? And have a bit of a sense of where you want to go. What kind of investment are you looking for? Because doing that homework ahead really then helps you to target where you want to go. You can approach Scottish Enterprise. We have an investment arm, an equity arm within Scottish Enterprise that can help with that. Or we've talked earlier about the array of specialists that we have. We have financial readiness specialists who can have those conversations with you around how to seek investment and how to get ready for that. So use that expertise.
Dominic, you want to come in?
So we have 3 teams within business growth at Glasgow City Council, one of which is known as the growth team. They work with SMEs with high growth potential. Advisors within that team are based at both Strathclyde and Glasgow universities regularly through collaboration with the innovation districts. If you are, I think you said a university startup, go and speak to one of them. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but having a conversation with one of our advisors, if you're a Glasgow-based organisation, would be the first piece of advice that I would give you.
I'm going to be even more simple than that. Every university's got a business development functions. They've all got really expert sources of support, guidance and advice for startups, spin-outs, particularly ones that are based on academic expertise. That's part of my day job, is to work closely with these guys, to work with individual projects on individual businesses to try and exploit the potential opportunities that they face. So these guys know me well. I know them well, but they know their systems well and their internal university systems better than I do. So that's your first port of call, but they'll bring me into the conversation as soon as it's appropriate to do it. So use the people that you know and trust, and we should be part of that equation. Hopefully we will be from today going forward.
Thank you. So we have another popular question. What are your plans to better align the support ecosystem in Scotland so there is a clear pathway from startup onwards?
So one of the actions from the action plan that was launched today, it's really about putting that together, you know, being able to make it easier for companies, organisations to be able to work through that journey, connect the different bits of the support landscape that's out there. And indeed we had a session on Thursday last week, ourselves and Innovate UK colleagues, really looking about the products and services that we have and how we can get that better aligned. It is pretty well aligned. As I said, we don't tend to compete with one another in terms of the support, but we do need to make it easier so that more companies are actually coming towards us for that support. So there's a bit of work to be done. We recognise it. It's not just our agencies that provide support. You know, we're working also with, you know, universities, colleges, and with private providers. We need to make sure that's easier to navigate. There isn't one agency, but we need to make sure it feels like that there's one ecosystem in Scotland, so that it is easier.
I think this is for you, Alison. It's a slightly logistical question. I've always been told that you can't access SE without going through Business Gateway. Can we now approach SE directly?
Yes, so there's never been, so while we don't want to compete with one another, and in the past we might have had mechanisms, account management was an example where that tended to come through the Business Gateway network. Come to us and have a conversation with us about what we can offer. You can come directly to us, either use individuals that you already know. We have over 100 innovation specialists sitting across Scottish enterprise in lots of different disciplines. Use those guys to come into us. Use the other agencies as a mechanism to find the right part of Scottish enterprise that can offer that support. But you can come directly to us.
Thank you. So what do you think are the main challenges for Scottish businesses at the moment? Dominic, do you want to start with that?
For me, I alluded to earlier on, time, quite simply. There are only 24 hours in a day for any of us, and particularly for the types of business that my colleagues deal with, which can be a one-person band or a family or a small group. Simply having enough hours in the day to get through what they need to do to get a business up and running and keep their noses above water is absolutely challenging. In terms of access to finance or access to support, again, that stems from having the time to actually go and do it, which is why, again, having a good advisor or experience from somebody in the industry to help signpost you towards the type of support is crucial too. I do think that, as Alison mentioned earlier, we are well aligned, but obviously it's an ongoing job where we need to keep working on it, and I think we're getting better at doing that.
I work a lot with businesses, and it's easy to lump them all as one thing, or SMEs versus large, but it's not that. Each is an individual case in its own right. Actually helping the business achieve their priorities and listening to their voice and understanding where they are and where they need to go is part of the issue. But it's the great not knowing what you don't know for most businesses is the biggest challenge. A lot of them don't realise the opportunities that they're trying to address, or the technologies or the support that could help them get to where they want to get to. And without knowing what you don't know, it's really hard to make those first steps. So starting the conversation with an open ability to collaborate and find like-minded people that are keen to help, that's a big part of the journey of travelling on an innovation journey together. Collaboration is a great source of support for helping overcome those initial obstacles.
Yeah, absolutely. I think very related to that, actually, there's another question. Is there a way early stage startups can get funding to pay for expertise to get started? So, for example, technical expertise.
In Glasgow, yes, there is. If you are a Glasgow-based business, we can offer you that through our framework. We're developing a startup grant. We have a digital grant and indeed a grant to support organisations that are looking to take steps to reduce their carbon footprint. So we have a range of support in addition to the practical one-on-one business advisor-led support as well. We have financial and expert support that we have to offer as part of our core offer. And you will find that either if you no wrong door approach, but perhaps find business support that Alison mentioned earlier is one of the best ways to reach us. If you go in and put your trading address in there, it should direct you to us in our whole suite of services.
Alison, Jen?
So for Scottish enterprises support, but our focus is very much on high growth startups. So that's where the expertise lies within Scottish enterprise and where the support's available.
And similarly, Innovate UK tends to support innovation, high-level innovation generally, but it has to be fairly novel, technically challenging generally. But that sort of question, I would always go to the Business Gateway as the first port of call for that sort of inquiry. That's what we do. If it's not for me, know who it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just related to that, I think Interface are here today as well. So if you're looking for academic expertise for your business, they can help you with that. There's a voucher scheme for that. Also, just based off what you said, Alison, at TechScaler we work with Scottish Enterprise's High Growth team as well. And if you're a member of TechScaler, then you can access a specific fund that we have with Scottish Enterprise too, which is for scoping your product. So if anyone's interested in that, come and chat to us. All four of us have stands at the support village outside. So just come and chat to us more about different funding opportunities. Right, we have a good question here. Thank you for all your questions. I think there's way more than we'll have time to get through, which is a good situation to be in. So a recent study found disabled entrepreneurs receive 400 times less funding and investment than non-disabled entrepreneurs. How are you tackling this inequality?
So it's really important for us that everything that we actually do is accessible. We need to make sure that we are able to respond to the specific needs, that people are not discriminated against because they are having difficulty being able to access any of the services that we offer or any of the products we offer. So we have to ensure that it's critically important that we're doing that. And that we're also trying to be much more engaged with those different communities so that we can understand what are the specific needs and requirements, if there are any, that we need to be thinking about in terms of the support. Probably the support doesn't change, but how we connect and how we make sure that people can connect into that support is critically important, and we need to make sure that we make it as accessible as possible.
Totally agree. Our diversity and inclusion agenda is not something that we pay lip service to. It's absolutely core to everything that we do. Innovative solutions are seldom the obvious ones, and we need diversity of thought as well as capability. Really disappointed to hear that statistic. Probably not too surprised, but it's really disappointing, and we're really trying our best to make difference in those fields.
Speaking from a Glasgow perspective, we need to do more. We very recently undertook some work with Harvard Bloomberg on their innovation track, and it was to promote entrepreneurship amongst underrepresented groups. And understandably, a lot of that work focused on women accessing support and on members of minority ethnic communities. But what kept coming up throughout it was that we were actually struggling to get research or be able to look at academic papers or speak to individuals with disabilities too. Because it's trickier doesn't mean that we get to overlook it. It means we have to work harder to try and address that challenge. So our wider work that we're doing about diversity will hopefully give us a nudge in that direction, but in terms of the specific question around support for people with disabilities, we need to do more.
Absolutely. Thank you. So Dominic, I think this is maybe a question for you to start with, but is there another UK region that has had similar successes in collaboration that you think we can learn from? Is there another city we want to emulate?
So one of the networks that Glasgow City Council is a member of and has been a driving member of and found very productive is the UK Core Cities. I've been very impressed when I was down in Bristol and saw the work that was led by Mayor Marvin Rees there, particularly around that diversity agenda as well. And what was notable when it came to the COVID and the pandemic crisis in terms of processing a lot of support for businesses, that in many cases was put out to a third party who were members of the minority ethnic community. We did all of that work in-house, and I think that we did a good job at that, and we got a lot of funding out that helped businesses keep the lights on. But what it demonstrated was that perhaps we didn't have that level of trust yet with an organisation that might help us around that collaboration. And again, one of the examples that people always point to is Manchester, the Greater Manchester Combined Authority. It's a similar size to the Glasgow in the city region sense of things, but again, I think we can point to lots of collaboration there between different local authorities, which turns a relatively medium-sized city into, it exploits and builds upon the potential of a wider conurbation. I would say that some of my colleagues from the Glasgow City region are here, where there's a lot of programmes being delivered, including early stages of business support is being delivered across the city region geography. So hopefully we're taking steps in that direction.
And today's action plan flows from a number of prior events. I was part of the panel that sat on a few of those. And that was a theme that came up throughout, was not only should the action plan for Glasgow look and feel of this place and have this voice, but actually it couldn't just be an insular thing. It needed to look at other parts of the UK, see if there weren't best practices that we could learn from, and look at what success looked like elsewhere. So there was lots of that happened as part of the policy work building up to today's launch. So we're not complacent in that, but we also don't want to lose our voice. The work that we do here needs to be of this place by these people. And we're really keen to build on that, but we will keep an eye on what's happening. And Innovate UK are really good trying to capture that, what good looks like, what other regions and areas of the UK are doing. So we're delighted to be part of the conversation. That's part of what we bring as well.
Great, thank you. Alison, maybe if you could take this one. So with remote working being more popular, are companies who don't have a physical base less likely to get support than those that do have a physical base?
Yeah, so this is an interesting one because it's one that we're kind of wrestling with a little bit at the moment. So we understand that for a number of companies, and a lot of some of the cases we're looking at the moment are digital software businesses who will have a very small presence in Scotland physically, but might have a significant, presence. But those will be all around the world, potentially being able to use that power. So what we need to think about there is in terms of what are some of the metrics that we use in order making some of those decisions. So we will always want to see economic value coming to Scotland. We're not going to get away from that, and I'd expect my colleagues will want to see that value coming. So we need to look at how we can capture that. So we are thinking about it because it's something that we're going to have to address. Yes, there needs to be a Scottish presence, but can we see that and look differently in terms of what do we mean by a global footprint for a company? That might not just be about its exports and where it goes. It might be actually a global footprint in terms of where its employees are. So we need to think about it at the moment. We probably don't have it nailed. We definitely don't have it nailed in terms of being able to do that. But because it's an issue that we're considering and thinking about, we will get to a point where we're able to address it.
Great. I think sticking with geography, we've got another question. Is there support for startups based in Scotland but who mainly target the US market? Or are you mostly interested in companies targeting local and national markets? Dominic?
Again, I'm conscious, I'm labouring this point. I can only speak for the support available within Glasgow, but no, we are keen. In fact, I had a conversation with some UK government colleagues earlier today about exporting. So no, we absolutely offer support to Glasgow-based businesses who are doing their business elsewhere, absolutely. And we don't have quotas to fill around that. It's something that we do, in fact, though, need to encourage people to look at exporting more. So no, we are absolutely delighted to offer support to Glasgow-based businesses, but who are looking to trade overseas.
And for Scottish enterprise, well, absolutely. It's one of the things we really want to see happen, more of it. We know that more businesses that are innovating are far more likely to be selling internationally. They want to develop into that marketplace and to do it successfully. So it's something to be encouraged.
Again, I also view it only as a positive thing. If that's the ambition, why wouldn't we want to support that to the hilt?
Absolutely. So we've got a question from Stephen. Thank you for providing your name, Stephen. Does any of the specialist support on offer go beyond an initial conversation or strategy development, given that impact comes through expert execution?
So from Scottish Enterprise, absolutely. There's a number of specialists in the room today. So it goes far beyond just that time to talk to you about maybe shaping a project. Those individuals have been there, seen it, done it. They've been involved in innovation projects and IP projects and running collaborative programs in business. So they can help you all the way through that process. It might be that they're giving you advice and support and guidance, not to access Scottish Enterprises money, maybe to look elsewhere because that's better for you. But that advice goes far beyond just giving you, an hour of their time, or goes beyond just that application. It really is about being able to help you achieve the ambitions that you're trying to achieve for your business, because they've probably been there and seen that, done that as well.
My day job is to manage collaborative projects where government, Innovate UK, will typically fund 1/3 of the cost of or 2/3 of the cost of a project, with the company picking up 1/3. We're investing £2 billion a year in innovation across the whole of the UK. A lot of what we do is funding, directly providing support, financial, as well as advisory support. So it's a lot more than just advice.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one for you, Jim, and it's related to grant funding. Innovate UK Smart Grants. Are there any plans to offer something similar strictly to startups? Big business can spend on grant writers while startups can't.
Not specifically that I'm aware of. So Smart is open to all businesses in all sectors of all sizes across the whole of the UK. It's a really competitive process. Success rates are pretty low across the whole of the UK because it's highly competitive. But that's the unique nature of Smart. It's there as a catch-all to allow us to fund the best innovation that we possibly can. But there's no specific plans, as far as I'm aware, to change the rules of that competition. It's not the only competition we run, but it's probably one of our best known but most competitive.
Thanks. And as I said, there is a Innovate UK stand, so please do come and chat. So we've only got a couple of minutes left, so hopefully we can get through at least 2 more questions. This is an interesting one. Isn't the biggest problem for entrepreneurship cultural rather than operational? For example, our schools still suspend students who sell sweets in the playground. Dominic.
We're all looking at you, Alison.
No, I was thinking, is that actually a question? Dominic, you're going to answer it first.
My tuppence worth on that one. As part of the work we undertook recently in terms of entrepreneurship amongst underrepresented groups, what struck me was the word entrepreneur and how it's interpreted by different people. And it ranged from being something that was worn as a badge of honour to being described by other people as being a toxic word and everything in between. So I think there is something about the culture. I'm having spent many, many hours reading and discussing it. I don't know if I can fully pinpoint on it, but I think at the heart of the question touches upon a truth that, yes, there are challenges around society embracing that term.
And much of the policy context that set out the previous session about the collaborative spirit in this place now to do stuff together, but also the significant drivers for success in that space, those are real. But we're not great at speaking ourselves up. We're not great at projecting an entrepreneurial nation, that spirit of enterprise that we rightly should. So you're absolutely right, it is an issue. But
Alison?
I mean, there's a cultural issue, obviously. I mean, I don't think we can get away from that. I think it's definitely improving and changing, but still much to be done. We know that. We don't have enough startups, spin-outs, we don't have enough innovative companies. All of that, to me, is all part of that kind of whole entrepreneurship piece, you know, doing something different, doing something new. So we need to encourage more of it. You need to be encouraging more of it. You know, you out there, you're already doing it. So how do we help to get some of those messages out to other people about that it's a great opportunity. It's, you know, something that we should be doing more of and encouraging it.
Thank you. We're nearly out of time, so I wonder whether to close off. Thank you so much for all of your questions, and apologies for the ones we didn't get to. But maybe to close off, can I maybe ask each of you to leave us with, I suppose, a priority for right now, what you want people to come and talk to you about, and maybe any deadlines that people should be aware of.
I'm happy to go first. Again, as I said earlier, my biggest disappointment is when people don't know about our services, so please do get in touch with us. And even if you're not from Glasgow, we will do our best to signpost you to your relevant support in other local authority areas, and we do link in very closely together. So please do a quick search for us and get in touch and have a conversation.
I think for today's a game changer for me, because I've been doing this for a long time. I've been working in economic development and innovation for a whole lifetime. But today's positioning of my organisation, Innovate UK, working with the local agencies in and around us, formalising those agreements, creating a game-changing, publicly facing positioning of ourselves as being part of the solution is really, really transformative for me. So I'm really delighted to be here today. I've been at several can-dos, but this is my best one for me personally because of that session before us today, teeing me up greatly for today.
Good. So I'd say come and speak to us, you know, whether it's today or you know, picking up the phone to us later. Connect with us. You know, we have a huge array of support that's available. It's not all financial. We can't support every company one-to-one. But we can definitely offer support, advice, guidance and help with those connections. So I'd say come and talk to us. We don't have enough businesses, as I said, that are innovating. We want to play our part and making that happen for more businesses, because we know it really is the route to success. So really keen for folk to come and talk to us.
Great, thank you. Thank you all of you for being here. As Alison said, we'll be outside, so come and chat to us and our teams. And thank you to our panellists.